Today on Fourth and a Mile, the Dolphins are set to release Ndamukong Suh, what this means for the Dolphins, and why I'm not a big fan of it. And Michael Rappaport, the scum that he is, goes off the deep end in a Twitter war with Johnny Manziel. We'll get into that too. I'll talk about it and tell you why he's a piece of shit. So, alright everybody, stay tuned. Welcome in, everybody, to Fourth and a Mile, presented by Planet Adam. I am your host, the Pharaoh, or God King, if you will, of Planet Adam. I am Adam Fernandez. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. It's a day right after the wrestling pay-per-view, Fastlane. I'm not going to talk about that at all, but it was, I guess, pretty entertaining pay-per-view all in all. Guys, don't forget, go to bandcamp.com, check out A Bloody Chasm featuring my friends Jocelyn Gonzalez and Matt Hutton. They will be very, very, very thankful for you guys downloading their music on there. And guess what? They've assured me that if you do, they're not going to eat your faces. Now, if you don't eat their faces, they're not guaranteeing that or if you don't download their music, I'm sorry, they have not guaranteed that they will eat your face, but all bets are off, so why take that chance, people? Why take that chance at all? Download A Bloody Chasm, the entrance music for this show. The song is called I Want to Rock and Roll. That is performed by A Bloody Chasm. Go check them out at bandcamp.com. Now, we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to get started with some baseball first. Just because over the weekend there were two really major signings of former top-tier free agent pitchers. The Philadelphia Phillies signed Jake Arrieta. He is now off the market. They signed him to a 3-year, $75 million deal. Jake Arrieta was, in 2015, the Cy Young Award winner. Best pitcher in baseball by far that year, I think. But in that year, he posted a 1.77 ERA. In 2016, he shot all the way up to 3.10. And last year, he shot up to 3.53. His fastball is down about 2 to 2.5 miles from where it was back in 2015. That's, believe it or not, that's a lot in baseball terms. He is not, in my opinion, the guy that we saw in 2015. That was a freakish fluke year. Not saying anything bad against Arrieta, but Arrieta, in my opinion, is not a number one guy if you want to be competitive. And the Phillies really don't have anyone right now that's number one guy because they have a very young rotation. Aaron Nola, I think right now is still going to be their number one guy. Jake Arrieta, in my opinion, is going to be their number two. Arrieta may very well open up on opening day, though. I don't know that he will or that he won't. But I think that they might have spent a little too much money on him personally. He has not come close to matching the numbers that he had in 2015. I don't think he ever will again. That's not saying that he still can't be a good, solid starter. That's just saying he's not that Cy Young Award winner. That's just not what Jake Arrieta is. So I wish him luck, but there are a bunch of teams, especially even in his division, or in their division, that have a far better rotation than Philadelphia. Philadelphia is young, and they're going to compete in the future. I don't see them really being that competitive this year either, because I just think that they're still way too young. Arrieta provides a veteran presence in the rotation, but I don't think that he's the guy to win them a division or a World Series or or just any playoff series. Second off, Lance Lynn signed with the Minnesota Twins to a 1-year, $12 million deal. He had been the constant in the Cardinals rotation. The guy that you knew would get you 12 to 15 wins, if not a few more, every year for the past several years. Granted, he missed all of 2016, but he is the guy that has, he missed all of 2017, but he had been the guy that has been, that had been basically their really unnamed ace is the best way to put it, I guess. Simply because he was consistent. You knew what you were going to get out of him every game. You were going to get 6 to 7 innings every game. He wouldn't give up a lot of runs. And like I said, he'd win you 12 to 15 games, maybe 16 or 17 on occasion every year. Well, the Cardinals offered him the qualifying offer this year before he hit free agency of $17.4 million for a 1-year deal. He declined it. I'm sure is because he was assuming that he would get somewhere in the offer, or an offer somewhere in the range of $100 million. That wasn't going to happen. He hasn't proved himself quite that much, in my opinion. I would have taken the 17.4 if I were in his shoes, but he didn't. So the Twins offer him a 1-year deal for $12 million, which is, do the math, $5.4 million less than what he's going to get. Than what he would have gotten as a Cardinal. But what that ends up doing for him is giving him a year to prove himself to be a top tier talent, and can possibly get him more money next year come free agency. What this does for the Cardinals, being that I'm a Cardinal fan, Yadier Molina right behind me, what this does for the Cardinals is that limits the guys that you're going to be able to get. I still think that they need help in their rotation drastically. Yes, they have some good young arms in that rotation. They got Luke Weaver, who has looked phenomenal in spring. Carlos Martinez, he's, I guess, looking better than what he did in his first start. Miles Michaelis did have a far better start his last go-around than he did his first two. But I'm still not betting the farm on either of those two. Carlos Martinez is going to have to come out this year and show me that he's worthy of being a number one for me to really get on the tsunami train. Miles Michaelis, I can't say that I'm on his train right now at all. Yes, he had the one good start, but that's not saying a whole lot. Adam Wainwright, if Adam Wainwright can come out and be the Adam Wainwright of, say, 2010, then awesome. I love the guy. But he hasn't since he's been back from his Tommy John surgery back in 2011. Really, he has never been that Adam Wainwright since then. And that's, we're already talking about 7 years ago now. But even then, he was still better before his most recent injury, which, if I remember correctly, was an Achilles injury. He was better then than he was even now. So I'm hoping that Uncle Charlie can put it together and get back to being Uncle Charlie. But right now, if I'm the Cardinals, I gotta say, go after Alex Cobb. He's the best chance you have of getting a frontline starter there. Even he, I don't think, is a number one guy, but he's at least a number 2 or a number 3. So I would go after him if I were the Cardinals. So on to other news in the NFL. Today, as I told you in the intro, the Miami Dolphins have announced that they are expected to release Ndamukong Suh as early as today. A report from Jason LaCanfora is saying if he is on the roster by the 5th day of the 2018 league year, he would be guaranteed $8.5 million. If they're going to release him, they want to go ahead and release him before that because they don't want to have to pay him $8.5 million. According to LaCanfora, Suh has been seen as aloof by his teammates. He's also citing on-field incidents, which he really didn't have too many of those in Miami if you really pay attention. He had more of them when he was with Detroit. As a reason, though, to change the culture in Miami, honestly, I've never thought that he was a dirty player. I've always said he was a very aggressive player. He's a monster. I thought throughout his first 5 years up there in Detroit, I thought to myself that this is one of the best defensive linemen that have ever played the game. Yes, he's done some things on the field that might make you question him, but I take him more as aggressive than dirty. Since he's been with the Dolphins the past 3 years, he's tallied 15 and a half sacks. But in his first 5 years with Detroit, he tallied 36. He's now 31 years old, so he's kind of getting up there in an NFL player terms. He's getting up there in his years. However, I still think that he has the potential to be the monster that he was in Detroit. First off, he was not nearly as double teamed with Detroit as he has been with the Dolphins. Simply because they don't have really too many other threats. They have Cameron Wake is up in his years as well. So they haven't really had anybody else there, especially in the interior, to take up some of the blocking. So it's basically him going at two guys every single game, all game, and he's still going in there to manage 15 and a half sacks over 3 years. I think, like I said, he still has the potential to be that monster, but you guys need to get other guys in there. The Dolphins were 29th in points allowed last year. I can't put that on Sue. I have to put that on the secondary that was very far less than mediocre. You know, they had opportunities to make plays. They didn't make those plays. They're going to give up points. The offense was stagnant most of the year. They lacked a running game. You put those together, you're getting the other team's offense on the field with opportunity to score more points. Guess what? They're going to score more points. So you can't really put any of that on Ndamukong Suh. Now, there was another article, I believe it was from USA Today. I might be wrong on that one. That was saying that Suh never fulfilled his promise. I disagree with that. I really do. They really did. Every team that they played did their damnedest to make sure that Suh would not make a play. They were always double teaming him. They were running the opposite direction. So Suh was a force. I still think he can be a force, but you got to get someone else in there, man. You got to get some more defense in there. Suh is as good as there is. At 31 years old, yes, he's probably now more in the waning years of his career, but he still has the potential to play for another 3, 4, 5 years and still possibly get, we'll say in the area of 10 to 12 sacks. You know, he can still do that. Probably not that high, maybe like 9 or between 8 and 9 maybe. So he is as good as they come. I don't call him dirty. I call him very aggressive is the way I see him. The Dolphins their defense was very anemic last year, and it wasn't because of him. It was the secondary. They couldn't stop anything. So that is the reason why they ranked 29th in the league in scoring. So I understand that, yes, Ndamukong Suh is a lot of money. They paid a lot of money for him, and they don't want to pay it anymore. But at the same time, now you're going to get rid of your really only true solid piece on the defense, considering how old Cameron Wake is, that can still be a force. And so the Dolphins defense, I don't know what you guys are going to do, guys. I really don't. I am not a fan of this move. If it does happen, as far as I know, it still hasn't happened quite yet. Just my luck, it'll probably happen as soon as I go off the air, right? That's pretty much the way my luck goes with this show. But, yes, Ndamukong Suh is set to be released by the Miami Dolphins. Again, I think that that's a very, very bad move by them if they do that. I would love to see him retire as a Dolphin personally, as a Buccaneers and Dolphins fan. I mean, if they can get him to go on over to Tampa Bay, I'd love that too. But they already have Gerald McCoy over there, so there's no reason for that to happen. But anyways, so on to the big story, and the big story is that of Michael Rappaport being a total douchebag. And if you guys don't know who Michael Rappaport is, I don't blame you at all. I don't think very many people do know who he is. Yes, he's a big-time Hollywood actor. Yeah, right. But here he is. He's also known for posting a lot of political stuff on Twitter, on Facebook, on all those. He still does have his podcast. I don't remember what it's called. Not that it really even matters. Because he doesn't matter. And what happened was a few weeks ago, see, his podcast had been contracted by Barstool. In other words, he was in their network. His podcast is his own, and it's continuing on to this day. But it had been bought by Barstool to go ahead and put it out there as one of theirs. However, a few weeks back, he got into a Twitter war with someone else from Barstool and started calling Barstool fans, or as they're called, Stoolies, started really bashing the Barstool fans, calling them idiots and whatnot. So the Twitter war between Rappaport and the guys from Barstool got out of hand. The president of Barstool, someone named David Portnoy, went on, I think it was on Periscope the very next morning. I mean, he's laying there in bed still when he's on Periscope. And he fires Michael Rappaport right there, tells him, "You're fired, you're a piece of shit. Yeah, you don't belong to Barstool anymore. Take your worthless podcast elsewhere, da-da-da-da-da-da-da." So, Michael Rappaport, because he is a guy that uses no common sense whatsoever, I don't believe he has an ounce of common sense in him, gets fired from Barstool because he doesn't understand that if you're going to be part of Barstool, you can't go and insult our fans. So he gets fired, and on, I believe it was Saturday, Johnny Manziel, yes, that same Johnny Manziel that y'all know that I love and I'm a big fan of, he posts on Twitter him wearing a t-shirt from Barstool that I guess Barstool just recently made. Here's the tweet right here. And that's Michael Rappaport with a clown nose, which is very reminiscent. I think it was a t-shirt that Michael Rappaport made himself of Ted Cruz wearing a clown nose. I don't know if that was him that did that, but someone over there at Barstool did. Anyways, I think it was Rappaport. But, so that was the tweet from Manziel, and it says, at Stool Presidente, which is, if I remember correctly, that is David Portnoy. And at Barstool Sports, but that is Johnny wearing that shirt. So, Rappaport goes on Twitter after seeing that tweet from Manziel, starts telling him stuff like, what was it? Stuff like calling him a bath salt sniffer and tell him to watch out that he doesn't relapse, and Saturdays are to go to AA meetings, that kind of bullshit. You'll never play in the NFL again. Stay out of Vegas. You came at me. Da-da-da-da. First off, let me tell you something, Rappaport. If Johnny Manziel wants to go to Vegas, he can go to Vegas, and you aren't going to do a fucking thing to stop him. I don't care how much bigger you are than he is. He's at least a professional athlete, which means, guess what? He works out quite a bit. when you are just this tall, fat, redheaded slob who is a Hollywood has-been, who really the best role you ever played was as Remy in Higher Education or Higher Learning. I'm sorry, is what it was called. I don't even remember the name of the damn movie. So, and as Remy, you played a guy who couldn't make friends, and so you join a white supremacist group and shoot up your college. That's actually, you know what? I think the reason that that movie is the best role you ever had was probably because that was self-reflective of yourself. Because that's the kind of person you come off when you post shit like this, dude. He just posted a t-shirt. A fucking t-shirt. Okay? Get over it. Get over yourself. You're not that important. You never really were. And you're just trying to get at Johnny because you're trying to stay relevant. Guess what? You were never relevant to begin with. You have done a few movies and a few TV shows. Outside of Higher Learning, I think your best role was on Friends as one of their boyfriends. I think it was Phoebe's boyfriend. And what, you did, what, 2 episodes like that? Come on, dude. You're not relevant. Your opinions don't matter for shit. When I went back and saw your posts and saw all the comments on there, you know how many comments were actually supportive of you? We'll talk in percentage terms. Maybe 1%. The other 99 were bashing you because you're bashing Johnny Manziel for trying to improve his life, trying to get to the goal that he had set for himself, that he, yes, admits to derailing on him or on his own. He blames nobody but himself. But you're gonna go and bash him because he's wearing a t-shirt that, frankly, I want to buy now. I want to go out and get that t-shirt, and I'll tweet about it. I'll post a tweet of me wearing that same damn t-shirt. So, you're going to go ahead and bash him just to stay relevant. You're always going on there calling people cluckheads or whatever the fuck. I don't even know if anybody knows what the fucking cluckhead is other than you. You are a piece of shit. You are not relevant. You've never been relevant. So trying to stay relevant is an impossibility. You can come onto my Twitter or onto my Facebook and you can talk about how irrelevant I am, that I was never in Hollywood. Yeah, I admit it. I have no problem admitting it. But here's the thing. At least I'm not trying to be relevant like that. I'm just trying to be myself. I'm not trying to be the Howard Stern of sports media. That's exactly what you're trying to be. Guess what? Howard Stern is 100 times more talented than you are. So, stop bashing Johnny Manziel. Look at the mirror. Tell yourself that you are anywhere near where you want to be in life, because God knows you're not, because you haven't made a movie in how many fucking years. Yeah. Look in the mirror. Become a better person. Johnny said it best. Try to stop being an asshole. It's better on this side. So, Rappaport, you suck. And you know what? If I want to take a trip to Vegas, I'll take a trip to Vegas. You're not going to stop me. You're sure as shit not going to stop Johnny Manziel. So, Johnny Manziel would beat 7 shades of shit out of you if you tried to stop him, Rappaport. You are a horrible, horrible, horrible human being who you go off on these tangents because people find it to be funny. The reason they find it to be funny isn't because it's actually funny. They find it funny because they're like, holy shit, this guy's using a lot of profanity. So those are your fans that do that. It tells you about the intelligence of your fans. So when you're talking about Barstool fans, you got to remember the fans that you're actually talking about are fans of yours. You are a disgusting human being who like I said, the only relevant thing you have ever done with your life is make one movie one time where you played a neo-Nazi shooting up a school. That was probably very reminiscent of your own life growing up in high school, probably in college too, where you just didn't have any friends either. That's probably why you were so good at that role. So, again, Rappaport, shut the fuck up. Stop starting shit with people who are trying to rebuild their lives and trying to get back to the promise of what they could have been. So Johnny Manziel, yes, he might be playing in Canada this year, but at the same time, he's doing something with his life. The fuck have you done? All right, so that's enough on fucking Michael Rappaport. I cannot stand the guy. I never really could stand him all that much to begin with, but because I always found him to be annoying and just not a very good actor. He's always basically playing the same damn character over and over again because his accent never changes and he's just always that annoying white guy with red hair. So that's enough for Michael Rappaport. I'm never going to mention his name again unless he decides to call me out on this. I don't think he will. I'm pretty sure it won't get back to him that I bashed him. But that's because, yeah, you know what? Fourth of a mile isn't that big yet, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow it and make it bigger. So, all right. So go ahead and leave me some comments if you guys have any questions or if you disagree with anything I said here. Go ahead and leave me some comments. Again, the Dolphins expected to release Ndamukong Suh. The Phillies signed Jake Arrieta. The Twins signed Lance Lynn. And Michael Rappaport, you're a piece of shit. So if there's anything else, feel free to comment too. We're still doing the $20 Amazon gift card. All you gotta do is like the video, comment what sports gear you're gonna buy with a $20 gift card. You can lie to me all you want to. If you're planning on buying something else with $20, you can lie to me and tell me that you're getting some sports gear. I don't care, but it has to be sports gear in order for you to be in the drawing. And then, yeah, go ahead and share the video. Subscribe, guys. I hope you all have a great Monday. Yeah, I'll talk to you all later. And as always, besos.